Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute, how has everybody been? This is the full story of what if future Trunks was like Vegeta. Remember to subscribe, hit the bell, and enjoy. This one stood out to me as one I haven't really seen before. I've seen a bunch about Gohan and Goku, but never this one. So we begin our long story after the cyborg's destructive rampage has begun. Rather than being a reserved and heroic boy, like the Trunks in our timeline, this Trunks seems to have a little too much Vegeta in him. From the age of 4, maybe even earlier than that, Trunks has been training himself in remote areas, trying to master his power. He's never had a chance to fight the cyborgs, but he knows how powerful they are. Someone as cunning and prideful as Vegeta would definitely want to be stronger than them by any means necessary. This pushes Trunks to focus on his own intense training, not caring much about the population of the Earth. Trunks' dramatic increase in power would of course draw Gohan's attention. Gohan would take Trunks under his wing as always, but this Trunks adapts to Gohan's harsh training much faster. This Trunks would want to be the strongest and possibly even resent Gohan for being that much stronger than him. Years pass and Trunks' frustration has grown immeasurably. He's getting closer, but Gohan is still so far above him. It's infuriating. So infuriating that during an especially brutal training session, something inside Trunks snaps. His hair turns golden and stands on end, and his rage brings him to the level of Super Saiyan. Gohan is very proud of his student, and now he says they can both get some decent training in. More time passes before the two Half Saiyans find Cyborgs 17 and 18 at an amusement park. Gohan is stronger this time around. I feel like seeing Trunks' brutal Vegeta side on full display would mellow him out a little bit more as well. Gohan wouldn't want to become a brutal warrior, and I think seeing Trunks behaving that way would remind him to be kind and to be true to himself as well. As a result, the mental block Gohan has imposed on himself has almost faded to nothing. Gohan's Super Saiyan form seems to be almost equal to number 17, before 17 reveals that they weren't using their full power. Gohan and Trunks managed to escape with difficulty this time. This is because they're both a lot stronger than in canon, and Trunks wasn't unconscious this time around. Trunks, however, is still devastated by this loss. This was his first real battle, and he was sent running. He flies away, and Gohan knows better than to chase him. Gohan instead works on a method of training he's been neglecting, something that Mr. Piccolo would have done. He would train his mind. This would accomplish two things. Gohan would become aware after some time that Super Saiyan isn't the pinnacle of power, that there is something more there, something he could train himself to tap into. But also it would give him a level of control over his power and his emotions, meaning that he wouldn't fly into a rage every time he saw the cyborgs. Meanwhile, without access to a gravity chamber and without knowledge of the Room of Spirit and Time, Trunks can't close the gap between himself and Gohan, no matter how much he trains. This infuriates Trunks and pushes him further into his training and further away from his mother. Tensions between Bulma and Trunks have been high for a while, but that was mostly because she's worried about him. Now she full-on shouts at him, telling him that he's being ridiculous and that there are better ways to get stronger, and that if he were half the Saiyan that Gohan was, he would know that. Trunks gets angry and spits back that Gohan is weak and he will become stronger than him in no time. Bulma then tells Trunks that the key to getting stronger isn't to train himself to death, but to have something to fight for, like Goku and Gohan. And that at the end, Vegeta even realized that, as her eyes well up with tears. Trunks goes quiet for a moment and simply apologizes before flying away. Many months pass before Gohan and Trunks cross paths again. Trunks has taken his mother's advice on board. He's taken some time out from his constant training to spend time with and try and reconnect with his mother. They've been working on a secret project, a time machine. Trunks is confident they won't need it, but resolves to work on it just in case. He's a lot calmer than the last time the two met, and he has a firm focus on what he wants. To be the strongest, the right way. Gohan has also taken the time out to reconnect with his mother, who he hadn't seen in many years. He feels more at peace with himself, and has long since stopped blaming himself for what happened to Piccolo and the others. He has resolved to fight for what he has left, and to bring hope to the future. This calmer Gohan is much more capable as a fighter. Without his self-imposed mental block and all the guilt and pressure he felt previously, this Gohan has learned how to control his power better than ever. He is on the cusp of going beyond Super Saiyan. He can feel it. Gohan and Trunks spend their spare time training together, helping each other to become stronger. Of course, Trunks' idea of training is like Vegeta's, full power grudge matches. Obviously, this means that once they both recover, they get to take advantage of Zenkais, although without Senzu Beans this does take longer than usual. Both Saiyans are far stronger than their original counterparts when they next meet the cyborgs. I'd say at this point Gohan is equal to number 17, while Trunks is only a little further behind. He's more than strong enough to give 18 the runaround, if nothing else. Gohan and number 17 fight one-on-one for a long time before Trunks is knocked away and number 18 joins in. Gohan doesn't die here though. He manages to cling on to life even after being hit by the full force of both cyborgs and their combo attacks. Luckily, the last Senzu Bean, which in canon was used on Trunks earlier, is still available to him. Once number 17 and 18 are gone, Gohan eats the bean and makes a full recovery. He gets a good Zenkai from that battle, making him stronger than number 17 and 18 individually. Trunks also makes a full recovery, gaining his own Zenkai, though not as large as Gohan's. Upon hearing about the time machine from Trunks, Gohan decides that they should both help gather materials and finish building it together. That way, even if they defeat the cyborgs, they can go back in time and change things, maybe even find a way to save their friends. Trunks agrees to this, but not before stating that he doesn't need Gohan's help. 3 years of relative quiet and intense training pass, and the time machine is almost ready. Gohan and Bulma are working on fueling while waiting for Trunks to bring the last components. As he arrives and drops off the parts, the cyborgs are spotted in a nearby city. Confident that this is the time to end things, Gohan and Trunks blast off towards the city. Gohan and Trunks both power up to grade 2, and without much trouble they completely destroy the cyborgs. Gohan taking out number 17 with a Kamehameha, and Trunks finishing number 18 with a burning attack. The threat to the future timeline is vanquished, and for now at least, peace descends upon the planet at last. Gohan and Trunks return to Capsule Corp, and once the time machine is complete, Trunks disappears into the past to deliver the heart medicine and prevent Goku's death. Trunks arrives in the past and waits. He can't sense anyone but Frieza and his father, who are about to land on the planet. This section goes more or less the same as always, although Trunks doesn't have a sword and toys with Frieza a lot more than usual, taking pleasure in humiliating the tyrant. After a powerful burning attack, Frieza is completely destroyed. King Cold is aghast, but before he can react, Trunks is on him, and Cold dies screaming, destroyed along with his ship. Trunks then beckons to the others, and the 3-hour wait for Goku begins. Instead of coming across as friendly and polite here, Trunks is giving off an unfriendly, even hostile attitude, sitting away from everybody else. Eventually, Vegeta approaches to angrily ask what his problem is. When Trunks replies that it's their weakness, Vegeta flips and attacks him. Although, Trunks quickly puts him in the ground, even in his base form. The rest of the time goes by in awkward silence until Goku's pod comes careening towards the planet. The group meet with Goku, who is very confused. Trunks asks for a word with him, which Goku agrees to. This time, after turning Super Saiyan, Trunks has no qualms attacking Goku at full force, which Goku struggles to defend against. He's quickly finding himself on the back foot, but not wanting to hurt Trunks at the same time, so he teleports behind him and creates some distance. Trunks is disgusted by Goku's warm nature and insistence that they don't need to fight, and spits at the ground, calling him weak. He wonders why Gohan and Bulma looked up to him so much. Gohan was far stronger than his father. Trunks becomes cold when telling his story, almost blaming Goku for not being there, before throwing the heart medicine at him and leaving. He says he'll be back on the day, because they'll probably need him to finish the job for them, before jumping in his time machine and vanishing from the timeline. Trunks is confused and annoyed. How could someone so weak, so gentle, make a difference? Gohan may be like that now, something that disgusts him all over again, but at least he gave everything he had to fight the cyborgs. Would Goku do the same? Would his father become stronger as well? All questions for later. Trunks arrives home and immediately takes his frustration out on Gohan, forcing him into combat. Meanwhile, back in the main timeline, Goku, Piccolo and Gohan train even harder than the original, spurred on by the fact that Trunks' power was far higher than Goku's. Goku takes this in his stride, of course. He knows that Trunks was holding something else back, possibly a level beyond Super Saiyan, and Goku wants to work that out too. In his spare time he meditates, trying to find the solution to this new form. 3 years pass and the interaction with number 19 and number 20 goes basically the same as always, as Goku collapses due to the heart virus. Vegeta comes in for the save, sending Goku home with Krillin and turning Super Saiyan, destroying 19 completely. He's convinced he's stronger than both Goku and Trunks now, and the plot continues until Trunks arrives on the battlefield, being shocked at the sight of Dr. Gero. Dr. Gero shouts that he's going to release his creations to stop them, number 17, number 18, and number 21. Trunks saves his mother and himself from number 20's surprise attack. As number 20 escapes, Trunks is livid at his father, who tries to shrug him off. But this time, Trunks is stronger than Vegeta and heads him off. Vegeta, once again failing to recognise this, tries to attack Trunks to put him in his place, and ends up being put in his instead. Trunks tells them through gritted teeth that they need to split up and find him, now. Another cyborg can't be a good thing. How much more did he change by coming back here? The gang split up as Gohan finds the lab this time. By the time Trunks blasts down the door, the cyborgs have been released. Number 17 and 18 are standing there smirking as the pod containing number 21 is slowly opening. As the lid comes off and a figure steps out, the group gasp in horror, as this is the face of a friend. They had wondered why he hadn't shown up at the right time, but figured that he'd chickened out or something. The group were looking into the cold eyes of Yamcha, and he was staring back. Now, this time around, Dr. Gero has managed to work out the problems with obedience, having a subject to work on that desperately needed it, otherwise he'd just be giving his enemies a huge tactical advantage. Unfortunately, he hadn't the time to fix this problem with number 17 and 18, who still killed him. The group call out to Yamcha, asking what happened to him. He replies that Yamcha, the fool who learned Dr. Gero's location using the Dragon Balls and went there to finish him off before the cyborgs could kill them, is dead. He's cyborg number 21 now. Yamcha flies at the group, taking them off guard, knocking down Ten Shinhan, Gohan and Piccolo easily before rounding on the Super Saiyans. He knocks Vegeta around easily and throws Trunks off him like he's nothing. Trunks smirks, happy for the challenge, and goes back for round 2. He doesn't care about Yamcha, after all. Trunks powers up to grade 2, but it's not enough. Because Yamcha was already a powerful human, especially when compared to number 17 and 18 who were kidnapped teenagers, the cyborg conversion made him far superior to them. As Yamcha beats Trunks down, he repeats the same question over and over again. Where is Son Goku? Number 17 sighs. Number 21 is taking all the fun out of this. But he has an idea. If they get to Goku and kill him first, maybe then they can teach number 21 how to have a good time. They treat it like a game. They put down the pod that they're holding and release number 16 before flying off together in pursuit of Goku. Luckily, Piccolo is able to send a telepathic message to Krillin, telling him to take Goku and hide. Number 21 leaves everyone alive, saying that they're irrelevant as he's only programmed to kill Son Goku. This sends Trunks and Vegeta both berserk, but they're both knocked out easily. Number 21 flies away on his search for Goku. Trunks and Vegeta come to, after each being handed a Senzu Bean by Gohan. Both stand in silence while the group discuss what happened and the way to move past it. Suddenly, both Vegeta and Trunks blast off in different directions. Piccolo sighs and heads off towards Kami's lookout, while Ten Shinhan and Gohan take Bulma and Yajirobe home, and hunker down, not knowing where Krillin and Goku are. Speaking of Krillin, Piccolo managed to get the message out that Yamcha is a cyborg now, and under the control of his programming. Krillin knows that Yamcha can sense energy, and he knows where they go to hide. So he and Goku end up going to Jingle Village by airship with Chi-Chi. I have a feeling that Goku would have mentioned this place in Android number 8 to Krillin at some point. Once they arrive, Suno and Eta put them up. Meanwhile, the cyborgs arrive at Goku's house and find it completely empty. Number 21 arriving moments later. This is the last place Krillin's energy signature was felt, so they all beeline here. This time, the heroes have no time to sit around, as Yamcha and number 16 can both sense energy, and number 17 and number 18 want to crack at Goku. The only place they can find energy from the group is Piccolo up on the lookout, so they begin heading there next. They arrive there just in time for Piccolo's power-up. Number 17 tries to start a fight here, but Piccolo points out that there's a bigger threat down below. Number 21 leaves to hunt Goku, not wanting to waste time, and the other cyborgs follow suit, leaving Piccolo to his mission. Shortly afterwards, Piccolo arrives in Ginger Town and discovers an empty place full of clothing. Here he meets Imperfect Cell, and this fight goes the same way as the original. At the end of the fight, instead of Trunks and Krillin, it's number 21 who arrives, having sensed Goku. Cell escapes, as always, using the Taioken. Now, with Goku out of action, Krillin is still watching the news, and as such, he hears about Ginger Town. But he doesn't want to leave Goku and the others. Suno and Chi-Chi are both very appreciative of Krillin being here to protect them if anything goes wrong. Meanwhile, Cell has realised that if he spikes his energy, number 21 and Piccolo will come running. So instead he lies low and waits for his moment, absorbing people at every opportunity. This goes on for days, until eventually number 16, number 17 and number 18 make their way to Kame House, where they find a frustrated Tenshinhan and Piccolo, but no Goku. Frustrated at finding Piccolo here again, number 17 starts a fight with him. Meanwhile, Gohan and Bulma went to investigate the other time machine, reporting their findings to the others. Trunks isn't with them, of course, he's off brooding somewhere right now, as is Vegeta. Gohan doesn't know where his mother and father are, and of course he's worried. At that very second, Goku appears in front of him, and they teleport over to Vegeta. Goku tells Vegeta that there's a place that they can train for a whole year in a single day, which gets him interested. They teleport to Trunks, but he's not interested at all. He's more curious about Piccolo's energy spiking and says that he'll head over to help. He isn't throwing a tantrum because he knows that he's still stronger than Piccolo. The others end up at the lookout, and Vegeta decides to go in alone, having already seen Grade 2, so Vegeta already knows what he has to do, and it takes him less than 3 months to achieve it. He comes out after half a day, having mastered Grade 2 and achieving Grade 3. Meanwhile, Piccolo's fight has drawn Cell out of hiding. The fight here goes exactly the same way as the original, Piccolo losing outright and number 16 being outplayed. Shortly afterwards, Tenshinhan arrives and blasts Cell into a hole, ultimately collapsing. While Cell is searching for number 18, Goku still teleports in to save Piccolo and Tenshinhan. By the time number 21 arrives on the scene, Cell is begging Trunks to let him power up again. Trunks, with a confident smile, says that he can do it if it'll make him a challenge. Having heard the whole conversation and catching what has happened, and also being able to sense Cell's power, number 21 attacks him, forcing Trunks to hold him off. Without Krillin here to help, this gives Cell all the opening he needs to blind them and absorb number 18. Cell is now perfect, and Vegeta arrives just in time to see it. After number 21 is easily knocked aside, Trunks, of course, goes first against Perfect Cell, and his Grade 2 gets slammed. Cell goads Trunks by telling him that his precious Gohan was going to come back in time to help him out, in a second time machine. Without the cyborgs, it was far easier to build a second machine, and even increase the cockpit space. But Cell got the jump on him before he could jump in. He managed to drain Gohan's energy just enough that he stood a chance, but Gohan just used Grade 2. And when it became clear that Gohan was so much stronger than him, Cell blinded him and jumped in the time machine, pressing the button and arriving back in the past. He didn't even need to revert to his larval state this time around. Trunks' mother had made it far too easy for him. Trunks goes berserk, but even after unleashing a full power burning attack, Cell just regenerates and breaks Trunks, knocking him out. Vegeta, knowing it's a bad idea and not ready yet, is forced to go into grade 3. And the fight goes pretty much the same way as Trunks' fight did in the original. Vegeta, however, realises that he can't keep up and drops back to grade 2, using his immediate boost in speed to his advantage. But he does lack the power to back it up. Cell still wins this fight, and issues a challenge. Get stronger in the next 10 days, and they'll fight again. Keep an eye on the news. Vegeta, under his breath, admits that he's proud of his son, even if letting that monster power up was a stupid, prideful move. Seeing Trunks act just as he would have opens Vegeta's eyes a little, speeding along his character development just a tad. Number 21 wakes up, blood running down his face. Vegeta? What do you want, scrap heap? I'm me again. The damage to number 21's head had broken the control chip, allowing Yamcha to return to his senses at last. Number 16 also comes forward, saying that he wants to help defeat Cell. Vegeta tells them both to do what they want, picking up Trunks and taking him to the lookout. Here they get their senzu beans and watch out for news of Cell. It isn't long before Goku and Gohan emerge from the room, at grade 4. They are just as powerful as the original, urging Vegeta to go back into the Room of Spirit and Time, this time with a cursing Trunks. Vegeta and Trunks, understandably, have a lot to work out here. Vegeta has had a culture shock, watching his son behave the exact same way that he would, and the less than stellar results of that. He knows now that they both need to radically change their methods if they want to get anywhere with their training. Of course, it's going to take some serious work to get through to Trunks, who's still angry and bitter about his loss to Cell and having to be saved by Vegeta. Trunks immediately challenges Vegeta upon entering the time chamber, and the two duke it out. The two clash, and it quickly becomes clear that, because of his extra training to achieve grade 3, Vegeta is the stronger of the two right now. Trunks is livid. Only a few days ago, Trunks could run rings around his father, so what gives? But Vegeta responds in a way that takes him by surprise, telling him that his anger and frustration is justified, but he needs to use it. Put it to a better use, get better, become stronger. Otherwise it's pointless. Trunks responds better to this kind of hands-on training than he ever did to Gohan's methods. Gohan was too nice, too soft, but his father? He's starting to see that all of his anger can be aimed towards bettering himself. With this in mind, I'm going to say that Vegeta and Trunks, both already with a tight grasp on grade 2, managed to train themselves up from scratch using Super Saiyan as their base form. They use the entire day in the chamber, eventually emerging as grade 4 full power Super Saiyans. I think this time with his father has brought Trunks around to his way of thinking a lot more. If anything, Trunks is more like his father than he was before. His rage and frustration isn't gone, it's definitely still there, but he's learned to manage it better, and they're both now essentially where Vegeta would be towards the end of the Buu arc, character development wise at least. Meanwhile, Yamcha is getting used to his new life as a cyborg, now using the 10-day reprieve to reconnect with his friends now that he has his mind back. This goes well, they're an accepting bunch after all, but I think Yamcha would be just as sad about losing number 17 and number 18 as 16 is. He may not have been himself, but he still spent time with them. I think most of the time he spends with number 16 here, after he's been repaired. Krillin opts to spend his 10 days in Jingle Village. After spending a lot of time with Suno, she thinks he's very brave risking his life to save Goku, and has taken a liking to him, and him to her. The days of rest eventually come to an end, and the Cell games finally commence. Goku still goes first. I think at this point Goku and Vegeta are essentially level in power, and Vegeta would be watching and following this battle perfectly, quickly coming to the same conclusions as Goku. Cell isn't using his full power. When Goku nominates Gohan to fight, Vegeta is surprised but not angry, in contrast to both the original story and this version of Trunks. Though Vegeta does manage to talk Trunks down, explaining that as it stands, Goku is stronger than him. He's obviously got a plan of some kind. Trunks reluctantly backs down. Soon it becomes clear to the royal bloodline that Goku was onto something. Gohan is holding his own against Cell, and seems to be even stronger than Vegeta. This infuriates Vegeta, but he manages to hold it back. However, after a failed explosion from number 16, Cell gets bored, releasing his Cell Juniors to attack the group and anger Gohan. The group do better here, with Yamcha, Trunks and Vegeta managing to effectively hold off their juniors, the latter two even getting the upper hand long enough to help with Goku and Piccolo's. Cell is annoyed by this, but not enough to intervene. He'd rather spend his time taunting Gohan. That is, until number 16's head lands at Gohan's feet. As always, Cell smashes the head underfoot and Gohan explodes into Super Saiyan 2, taking everyone by surprise. Gohan easily dispatches the Cell Juniors and then knocks the 18 out of Cell. Having lost his perfect form, Cell attempts to blow up the planet, only for Goku to sacrifice himself, averting the threat. For a few minutes. The dust kicks up and Cell returns, firing a blast straight through Trunks, killing him. This sparks something new inside of Vegeta. This is a Vegeta at grade 4 who's much further along in his character development, having formed a meaningful understanding and a bond with his son over the past year in the time chamber. Vegeta screams out as his power spikes and his hair stands on end. To everyone's shock, especially Cell's, Vegeta has achieved Super Saiyan 2. He rushes Cell, taking him by surprise. I think in this situation Gohan is stronger than Vegeta still. I said before that he and Goku were level at grade 4, and Goku acknowledged that Gohan was already stronger than him in the same form. But that doesn't mean Vegeta is useless here. In fact, it's the opposite. With his rage boost, Vegeta is level with Super Perfect Cell, and neither warrior is willing to lose any ground. Gohan tries to intervene, but Vegeta just shoots him a dirty look. Gohan holds back as Vegeta's final flash meets Cell's solar Kamehameha. Things are looking tense, but Vegeta holds firm. Of course, Goku is also watching this exchange and tells Gohan that Vegeta needs to end this himself. Cell made it personal by killing Trunks, and Vegeta would never forgive anyone for getting involved. Cell is genuinely perplexed by Vegeta's new power, but keeps up his insane bravado, taunting Vegeta over the death of Trunks. I think that that's enough to push Vegeta past his limits, quite frankly, and finally put an end to Cell. Vegeta has delivered the final blow of the Cell games with the sacrifice of Goku and the efforts of Gohan not going unnoticed. Vegeta powers down, exhausted, as Gohan and the others go to make sure he's okay. As the dust settles and Vegeta is forced to rely on Gohan to help him fly, while Yamcha carries number 18, the group head towards the lookout to summon Shenron and set everything right once more. Trunks opens his eyes, surrounded by the overjoyed faces of his acquaintances. What happened? Did he die? What the hell? Before Trunks can fly off the handle, he's told about Cell's defeat at the hands of his father. This cools Trunks off again slightly, only for him to be made livid once again by Yamcha's wish to remove the cyborg's bombs. Why did the bald idiot let the cyborg make a wish? Why are they helping him? Trunks is disgusted and flies back towards his time machine. He's had enough of the softness of these people. At least in his timeline, he only had to put up with one of them. Besides, he has a new goal in mind. That form that this Gohan achieved. The one that his father also apparently achieved. He wants it for himself. And now he has all the tools he needs to get himself there. He smirks. His Gohan will never believe the power that he holds now, and once he reaches this new transformation, he'll be unstoppable. Though he doesn't get away unhindered. His mother, of course, catches up with him, wishing him a fond farewell. But rather unexpectedly, his father has some advice for him too. Remember what they practiced in the time chamber. Take that and work on it, and no one will be able to stop him. Trunks shrugs this off, but I think that he'd secretly take it on board. I think this Trunks is around time skip Vegeta levels of development. That is to say, he's bitter and desperate to prove himself against his rival, but not like this. He needs Gohan to catch up with him, to push him to his limits, and that's the only way he'll become stronger now. But to do that, he'll need to push Gohan to his limits and make him stronger too. With all this in mind, Trunks leaves for his own time, also taking the other time machine in capsule form. There he reunites with a worried Bulma and Gohan. Trunks reveals that Cell has been defeated and that there's far more Super Saiyan power to tap into than what they already have. Gohan says that the world is at peace and there's no need to fight anymore, which enrages Trunks, who powers up to grade 4 and smacks Gohan down, shouting that he's no true Saiyan, and how he's ashamed to be around someone so soft. He charges, pushing Gohan hard, and eventually growing bored and knocking him to the ground. This is when Trunks says that just because the cyborgs and Cell are gone, it doesn't mean that they're out of danger. And who will defend Earth if they aren't ready for the next threat? This gets Gohan listening, and they end up spending a good amount of time training over the next few years before Shin arrives on Earth. As in the original, it turns out Babidi has indeed been on Earth gathering energy from humans the cyborgs missed. But they made his job very difficult indeed, and now they're almost ready to revive Majin Buu. As always, Gohan and Trunks receive training on the world of the Kaioshin, and Gohan pulls out the Z-Sword. This Trunks having no interest in these tall tales at all. Sure enough, Gohan and Trunks end up fighting and the Z-Sword breaks, releasing the Elder Kaioshin. As a reward for pulling the sword, he performs the ritual on Gohan, and I think we all know how strong this would make him. This Gohan survived into a world of peace, one where he fights to make the world a better place, and the mental block holding him back has evaporated. Ultimate Gohan in this timeline is just as strong as the canon one, if not even more powerful, a fact that makes Trunks furious. The group go down to confront Babidi and end up having to fight his minions. Trunks takes down Yakon and Pui Pui, while Gohan effortlessly evaporates Dabra. This is when Babidi notices something. Trunks is dripping with impurity. That's something he can use. Sure enough, in a desperate move, Babidi creates Majin Trunks. Now, although I don't think Gohan would want to hurt Trunks, I think he would probably take the Goku approach and go at him full force to end it quickly. So, Majin Trunks is still pretty short-lived, and Gohan ends things with Babidi quickly and efficiently. Shin takes Buu's cocoon and leaves Earth, telling Gohan that he's welcome to visit any time, while giving Trunks the cold shoulder. Does Trunks learn from this? Well, much like his father, Trunks had come to enjoy the time of peace. He had met a girl, Mai, and was happy. A notion that irritated him to his core. He took Babidi's power as a way of returning to his more primal Saiyan mindset, hoping it would give him enough power to overtake Gohan again. He got an easy power-up, so why shouldn't he? Of course, he's now realizing how wrong he was, and some level of regret does seep in, even though he still resents Gohan. Unlike his father from another timeline, he hasn't had Majin Buu to stomp his ego and fusion and Super Saiyan 3 to humble him. Instead, he's had his longtime rival cheese his way to the top. So I think Trunks is still bitter here, though maybe less than he was when Ultimate Gohan first appeared. Of course, the next thing that happens is the appearance of Goku Black. As in canon, he has used a time ring to enter Trunks' timeline, recruited himself, and has since been killing Kaioshin across the multiverse to remove their gods of destruction. Shin is no exception to this and is killed while desperately trying to reach Gohan for help. Gohan and Trunks square up against Goku Black, almost defeating him before he's whisked away and healed by Zamasu. Of course, this makes Black more formidable and the strategy is repeated until he unlocks Rosé. At that point, I think even a hardened, non-complacent Ultimate Gohan would have trouble with him, let alone Trunks. Even if his Super Saiyan 2 has become as powerful as Goku's Super Saiyan 3, like in the manga. During this time they also learn of Zamasu's immortality. Trunks and Gohan use their many years of cyborg evasion to their advantage, making a quick getaway and searching for a solution. One that's easily found. Bulma has already been preparing fuel for the time machine. Since resources are less scattered here, so much so that she could build and fuel 2 time machines during the Cell arc, I don't think it's a stretch to say that she'd have them fueled and ready to go at a moment's notice. Trunks and Gohan enter the bigger time machine and retreat back into the past, where despite the changes made to the timeline, things seem to have gone in a relatively similar direction. That's right, not many of my story-breaking changes this time. Krillin and Suno have a little girl together, and Yamcha and number 18 are also a couple, although they don't have children. Yet. I think that his rough few years have really softened Yamcha up, made him want to settle down and be happy. And he did save number 18 and remove the bombs. In a world where Krillin is taken and Yamcha is a cyborg, these are the new pairings. Also, Goku had a much rougher time against Majin Vegeta. Yes, Majin Vegeta would still happen, due to him being stronger than ever. Although, this time he came to his senses and fought Buu alongside Goku, as a result of his more developed character. Although he was still bitter because of Goku's death and the wasted time of his return delaying their inevitable battle, his character development had reached a point where Vegeta could overcome his base urges and recognise that the situation was dire. I think Gohan still gets ultimate here as well. While Vegeta survives and Goku gets his life back in time to fuse with Vegeta, who had up to this point been just as useless as Piccolo against Buu-Tenks, once Gotenks' fusion runs out, Buu tries to absorb Gohan, only for Vegito to get in the way. He still gets absorbed and removes his friends, while Gohan holds off Piccolo. It doesn't take long for Buu to start changing as Goku and Vegeta pop out of seemingly nowhere. Kid Buu arrives, and this time Gohan manages to grab hold of Goten and Trunks, and all of them end up on the world of the Kaioshin. The ending goes similarly to normal, with more people to hold off Kid Buu. Goku manages to charge his Genki Dama easier, and with Mr. Satan's help, he finishes off Majin Buu. From there, Battle of Gods and Resurrection F go the same way, but with more Yamcha involvement. The tournament arc had Yamcha competing instead of Buu, and Goku still took home the victory, inspiring Zamasu to steal his body. And that's when future Gohan and Trunks arrive. Goku Black and Zamasu have finally started taking out the inhabitants of Earth, having had a few days to gain a foothold now that Trunks and Gohan have disappeared. Then suddenly, they're back, alongside Goku and Vegeta. Gohan went with his father to visit Roshi, who taught them both the Mafuba. I don't think Gohan would let the mix-up between the seals happen here, and as a result, Gohan manages to seal Zamasu away for good. Without his partner, Goku Black is on the back foot against his foes. He's proven more than a match for Blue Vegeta, but he also has to contend with Blue Goku tagging in, and Ultimate Gohan and Super Saiyan 2 Trunks providing support. Goku Black dies here, resulting in a much less bleak future. Bulma also survives this ordeal and gets to see Vegeta again. Gohan spends quality time with his father, and when all is said and done, Goku decides to give one more gift to the future. Returning to the past, Goku then visits his Gohan, who gets to meet his future self. I think hearing about the hardships of future Gohan firsthand would inspire present Gohan to train a bit more. Goku then collects Goten, and the ritual is performed. Twice. Both future Gohan and Trunks attain Super Saiyan God, before returning to a future full of hope. And that, my friends, is where Trunks' story ends. For now. I'd like to take a moment to thank my channel member, Lily Bloom. Thank you so much for supporting myself and the channel. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave me comments, give me a like, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.